Happy very late Thursday. Today is Thursday, November 17th. Damn, Thanksgiving is next week. Wow. It just seems like a couple hours ago I was talking about suffering from 110-degree heat. Now we're rolling into Turkey Day. Ugh, my favorite time of the year, Thursday, I get to watch a bunch of football, work at the center, eat dinner with the family. I mean, like I said, every Thanksgiving that you're here is a good one. Tonight's Sci-Fi Center Live is brought to you by the folks at Paramount Pictures and Paramount Plus and Paramount Physical Media. And they are putting out or have put out Halo Season 1. The first season of Paramount Plus Halo, based on the Xbox video game franchise, is now available on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K UHD. With every episode from Season 1 and over 5 hours of special features, see Master Chief, Cortana, and the Spartans of Silver Team take on humanity's greatest threat, the Covenant. Get your DVD, Blu-ray, or 4K UHD copy of Halo today from Paramount Home Entertainment. And later on this week, probably on the overnight show, we will probably be going ahead and making those available for some of our listeners, as we did with the Top Gun. By the way, guys, you should be receiving those copies of Top Gun Mavericks for those of you who won the contest that we did for those. We'll do the Halo thing in the same manner. So let me say hi to anyone's in the chat. Hi, Aaron Pritchard, Brand Master of None, long time no see. Vince, what's going on, man? Still need to finish Halo. Yeah, I watched most of Halo, and then, like I said, with a lot of things, I'm backlogged. I've been running out of time. I watched the first 3 episodes of it. I actually liked it more than I thought I was gonna like it. I played Halo when it first came out. I was real big into Halo, and then, like I said, that is when I started, separating myself from video games, because video games for me are addictive, just like everything. I want to win. I want to finish levels. And like I said, it would just become all consuming, so I don't do those do those anymore. Yeah, let me know when you get it in your box, man, because like I said, I'm going to see how quickly Paramount gets things out to people, because I'm kind of curious, because they're not coming to me, they're coming directly from you to you guys from Paramount. Woo! So the main topic of this one is going to be Batman. Lately, how you doing, Mr. Wayne? Lately, David Zaslov has been bringing up Batman, bringing up their vision for a cohesive universe. So it's basically looking like they're going to go in a different route than what Hamada and crew are going with as far as the multiverse. I do not know what the Flash will bring as far as that goes. Obviously, we have different Batman that is in there, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be the Batman going forward. I really, really, really hope that Michael Keaton's presence is limited and short and sweet and over with soon. That is no disrespect to Michael Keaton. That is no disrespect to what he meant to me, 14-year-old me as Batman. But that Batman hasn't been relevant in nearly 30 years. It's been over 30 years since the last Michael Keaton Batman was on the big screen. And an entire generation and a half has come and settled in since then. And Michael Keaton, for all his greatness, is kicking 70, 72 years old. We're doing what I'm hoping Safran and Gunn are doing, is laying down a foundation for going forward. And even though Ben Affleck is 50 or 51 years old, he's a fit 51 versus even a fit 71, 72 is still 72. So I would, if I were going to transition from one Batman to another, I would rather be Affleck's to another Batman, but I don't know what they're going to do. He made the comment that they're only going to have one Batman, or no, he made the comment that they're not going to have 4 Batman. Now, what that means is that there could be, 1 or 2. I do not see Pattinson Batman being the basis of anything beyond Pattinson and Matt Reeves Batman. I don't see that going beyond 3 movies, and I don't see that being anything outside of the 3 movies that they eventually do. I think what he is referring to and what he has hired Gunn and Safran to do is give us a Batman that is designed to be interactive with the rest of the DC universe. If you buy comics and you read Batman on a regular basis, you'll see that he is written differently, and when he is presented in a group set format than he is when he is written on his own book. When you read Detective Comics, you read Batman, or you read Batman and Catwoman, or you read any of the Black Label stuff, the author takes on Batman in that scene where he's by himself, and then when you see him written with the rest of with the Justice League, he interacts differently. It's just it's not a different Batman, but it's a different approach. And Matt Reeves has chosen the approach he wants to take. That's not the approach that you need for a connected universe. So I heard his comment, and I'm going to go ahead and bring up a lot of what he said, not just about Batman, but about their Bible for the DCU going forward, which I think is kind of cool, but very enigmatic. It leaves a lot to be questioned. But like I said, I'm with attitude. I am curious to see what they have in store. So here we go. This is going to be from Collider. Collider. I looked across the best articles. There was a couple of different ones, but this one narrowed it down. All right. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslov talked about the future of DC Extended Universe, teasing that recently appointed co-heads DC Studios James Gunn and Peter Safran will work on unifying every film and TV show soon. As Zaslov tells a Wrap, there will be a single Batman in the future of the DCU. Okay, so he did say that. All right. When Zack Snyder was still planning the future of DCU, Ben Affleck took over the cape and cowl to play a gritty version of the Dark Knight. Affleck seemed to be done with the part after the failure of Batman. Okay. The failure of Batman versus Superman, that's subjective. That's an $879 million movie, and that was the butchered cut of it. So I don't know if failure is the proper term. Justice League, yes, especially the theatrical run. But the actor is set to return in The Flash and in Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom, both expected to be released in 2023. Affleck is not the only Batman showing up for The Flash. Michael Keaton returns after playing the world's greatest detective in Tim Burton's Batmans in films 1989 and 1992. Guys, 1992 was 30 years ago. Keep that in mind. Keaton was also supposed to show up in the canceled Batgirl, raising questions about how DCU would deal with concepts such as alternate realities and multiverse, which is a good question. I can't wait to see what they do with that. Finally, earlier this year, director Matt Reeves released acclaimed Batman, starring Robert Pattinson in the leading role. After making a great run at the box office and gathering universal appeal for critics, Reeves received the green light to develop a spinoff show focused on the Penguin and the theatrical sequel. So far, fans considered each DCU Batman belonged to a different timeline, and they wouldn't cross over in the future. However, Zaslov says the plan is to simplify the Bat franchise. In the CEO's own words, I think over the next few years, you're going a lot of with an opportunity around DC. There's not Batmans. So part of our strategy is to drive the hell out of DC, which James and Peter are going to do. I think they've thrilled the I think they've thrilled the fans, and I think they're going to throw you over a period of time. All right, so what do Zaslov comments mean for DCU? After Warner Brothers Discovery merged and decided to rethink the DCU, the company revealed it wanted to develop a 10-year plan to unify its superhero universe. So far, we've hoped that Reeves' corner of the universe would be untouched, as Gunn and Safran took care of the mainline movies and TV shows. That's no longer the case, as it seems Pattinson should take over. This is where I'm a little bit hazy on, as it seems Pattinson should take over the one and only Batman in the next few years. That raises many questions, as the Batman is a standalone story that does not dialogue with a bigger superhero universe, which is what I just said. Besides that, fans might wonder, what will happen to Todd Phillips' Joker in this context? The filmmakers currently develop a single Joker Folie à Deux, I hate the name, that also features Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn. Since Margot Robbie has been playing Harley Quinn in the multiple DC movies, Zaslov's comment might spell doom for one of the actresses. However, we hope that Gunn and Safran come up with a clever solution to join movies that are so different in tone. I hope they don't. And whatever happens, you can expect to read about it in Collider. All right, so some of that is subjective. I never want to see Matt Reeves Batman interact with a combined universe. He did not design those characters to do that way. And just like I had said before, certain Batman stories are designed to work singularly with Batman, and others are designed to work with a group of characters in a universe that it consists of. They should not be the mix. Matt Reeves' Batman should not be the focal point of Batman. It should be the focal point of Matt Reeves' Batman, simply for that reason, because it doesn't work business wise and it doesn't work narrative wise. Business wise, okay, Matt Reeves' Batman came out in March. We're not going to get another one, according to what everything I've been reading, till 2025. That's 3 years. If it's a trilogy and we average 2 years in between, we're talking 2027 before we get that. That is not enough to sustain the type of revenue that these guys are looking for. These guys didn't get into this for to make some change every 3 to 5 years. They got into it for a consistent revenue source using their mainline IPs, which means you need a Batman that works with a Superman, a Green Lantern, a Aquaman, so on. Because when you step out of that movie theater and you got to wait 3 years for the next part of that saga, that's just not going to do it. That does it for them. But as far as, like I said, you're talking about having dropped $46 billion on a company, and now you're focusing on some of that company's most valuable IPs. You're not going to wait for movies like the Joker and the Batman to hold it up. Those movies can be their own thing, and that's great. But I've always heard people say, well, they should just start and build everything around the Batman. No. All right, no. The Batman is my favorite overall Batman movie, even though Pattinson is not my favorite Batman. But I loved what they did with the Batman, but I do not want to see that as the basis of any shared universe going forward. That's just my opinion. All right, before we get into running down the actresses and actors that have played Batman throughout the decades, I'm going to go ahead and say hi to the chat again because there's some other people that come on. Okay. All right, I play MMO online. I've played since 2010. There's no, yeah, the dictionary, dude. I look like crap now. Could you imagine me? I'd be 500 pounds stuffed into this little Shazam shirt and the beard down to my knees. I wouldn't take care of myself. I would be eating like crap because that's just the way I am. I would never be able to put down that control. I would lose up. Yeah, I would know. It would store would get. I'd get evicted from the store. Don't want to do that. That would be me. All right, so I'm going to go up and down. So Film Goblin says Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, and Kevin Conroy for me. Overall, I mean, I've always kept my interpretations of Batman to live action, but you know what? Kevin Conroy, rest in peace, was a Batman. He did not I mean, he did it the one time in the WB or CW verse, but I've always limited my selections to the live action. However, I have no problem with giving new appreciation and giving a new outlook, not just because Kevin Conroy passed, because as you broaden things, you look at, Batman. It's not like I'm awarding an Academy Award to a character. Whereas if that was that case, I would have to, it would have to be live action because mannerism, facial expressions, body language, interaction with other actors, that's all a part of the deal for me. And you just don't get that from the voice actor in a cartoon. But as far as overall Batman, if the criteria is just someone who played Batman, period, then I guess Conroy would have to be up there to fair enough case. Fun, how y'all doing? Wouldn't be surprised if they. I don't think they're going to hard reboot. Once again, if you watched me a long while, you know that I have a different word for a reboot, and that's stupid. And not you Film Goblin, but just the concept of rebooting is stupid. Because when you say reboot, you're telling everybody that's been on board with you that you wasted their time. In the same breath, you're asking them to give you more time and more money. Right now, your reboot destroys your credibility. And it's disorganization because if you look at the landscape, there's too much out there that they can work with, salvage, build on, and improve on. It would be wasting money too. Because look at everything that we went through just to get to the point where people accepted the characters that Zack Snyder introduced over the last 10 years. You're going to fight even more resistance coming up. Eventually, you'll get those people, just like you did people who hated Ben Affleck. They turned over and they loved them. People who hated Man of Steel, once they were given time and they took time to appreciate it, they ended up liking it. People who dogged Justice League, once they saw Zack Snyder's Justice League, they got a chance to see a better movie, they ended up warming up to it. But that takes time. And if you got a 10-year plan, not only is your credibility shaken, but now you're going to start over. Oh no. Yeah. And like I said, I would have gone along with that hesitantly if they hadn't got Cavill back as Superman. But with the biggest, most important chess piece on the table, there's no reason to reboot. It would be insane at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the last regime. Yeah. But then again, look what they did. So, all right, just announced Affleck solo film to stay the fuck out of his way. You know what, Forth? I'm wondering how much of this is Ben Affleck just coming to a decision-making process. Because when you're trying to get talent back from a previous regime that screwed him, what better? I'm pretty sure they had to put the feelers out there for an Academy Award-winning filmmaker, like top-tier guy like Ben Affleck. I don't, like I said, we don't know. We're not in those offices, but I'm going to find it really hard to believe if he hasn't been reached out to. That's gonna shock the hell out of me if you've gone through all this work to maintain your IPs, to keep your actors and keep your people there that you've had since the beginning of all this. It just would drive me nuts to know that if they didn't get Ben Affleck on board, because he would be the last piece that you needed. If you already have Cavill, you already have Gal Gadot signed on. You have Ezra Miller for as long as you want to keep him, depending on how everything goes. You got Momoa. I would just find it unimaginable if they haven't already reached out to him at some point. And you know what? It might be up to him. He's got it all now. He maybe, it might be up to Affleck. So if Ben Affleck, if you're watching the Point Extra Round, come on back in, buddy. Come on. Bring J-Lo with you. Rhea, the Gumming Harpy. How you doing? Congratulations, Rhea, on her 1,000 subscriber. As I told her in her message, I'm right behind you. I'm gaining on you, Rhea. Look back. Well, you have to look really far back. 900 subscribers or so back. But hey, I'm gaining. Had to start somewhere. Yep, smash the like button, subscribe, like the Point Extra Lounge, subscribe to Point Extra Lounge. Most of you already are. You can subscribe to my my little channel, youtube.com @ the Sci-Fi Center. All right, fun. Keep Pattinson Batman away from the DCU. We need the best Batman for the DCU, which is Batfleck. Yeah, I Ben Affleck, and we're gonna, when we go into the list of people who's played Batman, Ben Affleck is actually my favorite, and the reason why I'm biased towards Ben Affleck because he represents an era of Batman that I love, and that's the Frank Miller Dark Knight era. I mean, right down to the T. There is no denying that Zack Snyder designed that. I mean, it's unescapable, undeniable that Zack Snyder designed that Batman. Even down, if you watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, at that end scene, which I just basically, wet myself when you see the big bulldozing Batmobile exactly inch for inch, scale for scale, vision for vision, exactly as it looked in The Dark Knight Returns. And if you look closely, you'll see the mutants there too. For as a glimpse. So he looks like that Frank Miller Batman. I love that Frank Miller Batman, and that is my favorite portrayal of Batman. I'll go up and down the ones who played him. As far as Pattinson goes, like I said, I love Pattinson's movie better. Matt Reeves' Batman better than any other Batman movie I've seen overall. Even if I come to terms with Robert Pattinson not being my favorite, he wasn't a bad Batman, but he's not my favorite. He's fit into the scenery that Matt Reeves did so well. I love that movie. Everything about the Batman I love. I love the score. I love the cinematography. I like the way the city of Gotham is basically a living, breathing character that is as much part of the movie as any of the other characters that are there. I love the Norway of it. It reminds me, speaking of Frank Miller's Batman, it reminds me of Batman Year One, Batman Year Two, David Mazzucchelli, and when Frank Miller got together for that run. That's what it reminds me of. And the absolute fear that you are supposed to have when Batman is lurking in your cities. That scene where that opens up, where he's doing his opening monologue, where he's telling them, I can't be everywhere, but to them, I can be anywhere. And when they put that signal up into the sky, everybody who's doing crimes and just doing underworldly garbage looks up in the sky and just looks around and wonders, is he there? And some of them even stop what they're doing. That's what Batman is supposed to be. And I thought Matt Reeves captured the essence of what Batman means to Gotham and the horror and lore that Batman means to a criminal better than anybody else has. Was Pattinson my favorite Batman? No, not now at least. Who knows? After 2 movies, that might change. He did better than I thought he would, and I thought he fit the role better than I'd ever imagined, given from the things I saw. But it turns out, hey, Robert Pattinson's a top flight actor, so I wouldn't mind seeing more of him. Do I want him to be the Batman or for DC? No. Have him do his trilogy. Have him stand up against all the other ones that have had trilogies. And we need a Batman that is going to be a thread that ties together the DC universe along with the Superman. Hell no, keep Batman in the snooze universe. In fact, cancel that. No, I want to see the rest of it. I want to see the rest. I want to see the other two. That's Reyes saying hi. Yeah, man. I want 1,000 subs. Damn it. I just got started though. So I just got started. I got an uphill battle. I don't look as good as some YouTubers, so I'm a little bit hard on the eyes. Maybe I'll get some subscribers if I just go to Avatar. This is a very non-controversial channel. Both what I do for Enosh and what I do on my own. There's not a lot of controversy on there. There's no scoops here. There's none of that stuff here. It's just me running my mouth about what I know, and I stay within that circle. So we're probably going to be creeping. We'll probably hit about 1,000 subscribers, 20, 30, maybe. Hey, I'll take it. How you doing, St. Clinton? I just want him. St. Clinton's here in Vegas with me, one of my customers. I just want him to get away from the origin stuff. So do I, and I think that's one of the things I think is a good advantage about keeping the current Batman that we have. If we can't get, let's say for instance, Ben Affleck says, you know what, I'm done. I got J-Lo. I got this nice quiet life. I can direct and do whatever I want to. I don't want to do it anymore. I hope he doesn't say that, but let's say he does that. Right? Let's say he does that. I still want that Batman to go forward. That style of Batman to go forward. As much as I want Ben Affleck to play him, I think that Batman is right now is more important than just the guy who plays him. I got some people that I love. In fact, I got one name. I wrote down a list before, but that was a while back. I got one name I would love to have if I couldn't, if I had to recast, and that's John Hamm. By the way, Top Gun Maverick on DVD, VHS, or not VHS, VUH, whatever, and Blu-ray. Get it in stores now. That was our last promotion, though. John Hamm plays Admiral. He plays the vice admiral that pretty much runs the mission. And if you get a chance, he's 51 years old. He's in very good shape. He could play that version of Batman for 3 to 4 years and still look like that. Those guys in Hollywood, they sleep in these chambers that keep them immortal. They're not like us. So 51-year-old us, probably not happening. 51-year-old Hollywood star that sleeps in the hyperbaric chamber and with the cucumbers on their eyes and the ab machine and all that, those guys could do it forever. So John Hamm would be a Batman. And then you wouldn't have to go back to the origin. Because you're right. We know the origin. I don't need to see Martha's pearls get shattered again. I don't need to see Thomas Wayne get shot over and over again. I don't even need to see it in flashbacks. And I thought they did great with the Batman, and you did not see that. And Ben Affleck's Batman, I don't think you see it at all very much, but even still, it's not the overwhelming thing. So yeah, let's stay away from the origin stuff. We know the origin, just like we know Peter Parker got bit by a radioactive spider. We don't need another Superman origin. We have Man of Steel. We know the planet blows up. Don't need to see it no more. That's why I don't want to do any reboots, because you'd have to. Everybody who's going to do a reboot is going to want to tell their own version of those stories. It's inescapable. Let's not do it. So, all right, Pat, man. Oops, forgot to ask what the murder weapon was. Could have prevented all this. Oh, stop it now. All right, let's see. All right, I'm not sure about the new 10-year plan. I think we're going to start seeing stuff fall off with comic book movies. I do not with DC because it never fell on. I see that with Marvel because we're 30 movies into it. And to be honest with you, with Disney Plus, I think that a lot of stuff is going to fall off the theatrical scene because of the fact that after 30 movies, and not everybody has fallen in love with all 30 movies. I'm getting people who went with us to Black Panther that were like, they didn't think they had as good a time as they usually do when they go to these movies. The Phase 4 was a mixed bag. Now you got Phase 5 and Phase 6 spread up across the next 3 to 5 years. At some point, you're going to have to make an adjustment where there's just not so much going on. Especially when you have TV and you have movies. Be honest with you, if I hadn't been promoting Thor: Love and Thunder, and I had the option to just watch it on Disney Plus, I would have skipped it. As a matter of fact, if Disney Plus had been around for the other Thor movies, I would have skipped Thor in the theaters altogether. So I think that Marvel may fall off. But falling off for them is still making a lot of money. The difference between DC is we haven't had an opportunity to be saturated by DC. I mean, especially by their mainline characters. Look, I mean, we've just been discussing. It's been 5 years since Superman's been on the screen. All right, the last Wonder Woman movie, and we've got a bunch of B and C characters. You can argue to varying degrees of success and how you like him or not, but we've gotten Peacemaker instead of Superman's. We've gotten, Birds of Prey instead of a Batman solo movie, that connecting one. And then we've gotten the Patents and stuff, which is, like I said, is its own thing. And, it's so spread apart. So I don't think that the DC stuff will fall off because it's going to be new to people. Look how many movies that they've put out since 2013, since they've started the DC Extended Universe or DCU or whatever the hell it is. All right, look how many things that they put out. Not very much when you consider how much time we're talking about. So I think if you're talking about comic book movies in general, maybe, but it would be on the Marvel end because there's just so much stuff out there, and not all of it is very good. And when you're paying, anywhere between $10 to $14 a head times 3 or times 4, it starts to wear on you a little bit faster. So you keep an eye out for that. It'll be interesting to see while Marvel becomes saturated. It's still good, but it's just a lot of stuff. And while you're getting your first Superman on the screen in 5 years, it's a different situation. So I think it might have different results. William, if they end up having Batfleck direct the next Batman movie for DC, would you want who would you want to play Batman? I'm looking forward to Bradley Cooper or Terry. Like I said before, John Hamm. John Hamm would be the person I would want to play him. I'm pretty sure there's others, if I sat down and thought about it hard enough, that would come back to me. But John Hamm, to me, for that era of Batman, it would be perfect for me. He'd be perfect replacement for Ben Affleck if I couldn't get Ben Affleck, or if Ben Affleck just wants to direct. John Hamm. All right, fourth. Hey, how William? Word on the block is Lobo, some other smaller character. Doesn't this fall in the category of terrible planning that bought us Black Adam and almost Superman's? Yes, depending on how they do it. Okay, if it's a Lobo standalone, fuck no, that's stupid. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I think we're going to, even if it's a great movie, let's say it's a spectacular movie, they do a wonderful job with it. If business model wise, I don't want to have to spend half of my marketing thrust to explain to people who the hell it is to a movie that you want them to pay top dollar to see. That not now. After you've hit them with the Trinity, after you've hit them with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, just all that, then you start feeding in some of these characters, or you do it with these characters. So if Lobo appears in a Batman movie or a Superman movie, okay, that's fine because you're bringing him alongside of a character people will pay to see. But if you put him out there, you're going to have the Black Adam and Shazam a scenario, and possibly super fans. I mean, things like that. That'll because like I said, at this point, you're going to need to streamline and speed up your appeal to fans. And that means giving them people that they know and giving them expectations that they're expecting. Now, next Superman movie, next Shazam movie, or whatever, you're going to do cameo, something like that. If he's in a movie with the mainline heroes, that's all good. But if you try doing a solo movie, the only chance I think it would have is that, like I said, if you put a Momoa in there, but that might not be enough because Dwayne Rock Johnson was Black Adam. They knew him, but they didn't know the character. And sometimes not knowing the character, even with MILF magnets like those two, might cost you more money than it's worth. Just my thought. Film Goblin, not saying they're going to reboot. I wouldn't be surprised if they decide. I hear what you're saying. I would, because then there's no reason to bring Cavill back. Then there's no reason to, to go forward in the direction that they're going in. I think if you look at the people that they've chosen to run this for them, they've got people who are experienced in the movies that are already existing. And I think that they want that money now. Yeah, they said 10-year plan, but they want to be making money and doing well after the first maybe 2 years. Because remember, they got a year of inherited films that there's nothing much they can really do besides reshoot some scenes and line it up the best they can. But we're, like I always said, we're really going to start seeing what's going on when we get to see movies that are completely under the umbrella of James Gunn and Peter Safran. And I think that if they were going to restart, I don't think you would have seen Cavill, and I don't think you would. I think they would be doing a lot to remove, some of these Batman from some of these movies, and they're not. So I think that like I said, I have no inside word or anything else. This is just my gut feeling. Take it for what it is. I don't think they're going to reboot. I think at the end of all this, you may see something new, but I think it will be a transition to the point where it will be accepted by the fans and not rejected. If you reboot now, they're going to reject it like bad medicine. They're going to take it, and they're going to look at the history, and they're going to be like, no. So, and I think that that's what they're thinking. I think that they realize the credibility of DC has been damaged. So, Film Goblin, I would be surprised if they decided to reboot. If it were, like I said, if it were Hamada and Emmerich and all that, they were angling towards that. They were just trying to figure out a way. But I think with the regime change, I think the reboot and even the soft reboot is gone out the door. For me, soft reboot is worse than a hard reboot. Soft reboot has to be earned to finish one of the storylines. Yeah, I don't think either one of them is going to happen. Simple because, and here's just another thing, guys. When you say reboot, when people say reboot in general, let's look at it from a money making standpoint. What a losing proposition rebooting is. All right, not only do you have these movies coming out, you still have HBO Max, you still have Turner Networks, you still have TNT, you still have platforms that these things are playing on, and you have physical media that DC physical media does really well. The moment you cut the continuity from that without a smooth transition, you make those things irrelevant. You still have these things playing on HBO Max. All right. And so why would you not take the new movies that you're making and reroute them to HBO Max where the preceding movies are? So a lot of these people who are going to see these new movies are going to be brand new fans. Yeah, we're going to have the diehards like us that have been around forever, but a lot of these guys are going to be giving these DC movies a chance for the very, very first time. If they like what they see in Shazam, or if they like what they see in The Flash, guess what? I got a damn commercial for HBO Max on The Flash at the end of The Flash or before going to The Flash, going into the thing, directing you back to all this content that we have on you. And if you're not a subscriber of HBO Max and you like what the movie you just saw, why don't you sign up? Why don't we'll give you a discount? We'll give you, and you just continue to recycle and rotate brand new audiences into IPs that you've already developed. If you reboot, you basically make the stuff that you can continue to make money off of a little bit irrelevant. It's the same thing with the reboots in the comics. You can have a guy. I've had collectors 4 or 5, 6 years that are buying and going along with continuity of DC Comics, and then we have these reboots, we have these 52s, we have the Flashpoints, we have all this mess going all the way back to 86, going all the way through 0 Hour. It just becomes a mess. And when you break that line, you also break that path for people going back and buying some of these things and making it irrelevant because you just rendered their storyline irrelevant. And that's one of the biggest problems the paper medium and comic books has right now is there's been too many retcons and too many reboots. That's why right now Batman and some of Superman is what carries almost 80% of DC sales. 80% of what DC moves is as a bat on it. Is because even though they've done all these reboots and nonsense, for the most part, a Batman story is a Batman story, and that's been a saving grace. But the rest of the universe, I mean, dude, if you bought the Flash the last 15 years, you've basically been screwed. If you, I mean, so and it's the same. It's the same with movies. People want consistency. They want a consistent path going forward, but they also want to know that what they're spending their time on is worth something, and they can go back on it as well. And you still got that, all these movies that have been made since 2013 that you can still make money on. You can still make ad revenue because you can not only throw them on your networks you own and have people paying for advertising dollars, little guys like me that'll buy it while while it's on the air, and you could sell. You know how many other times if you turn to another TV channel and you've seen Wonder Woman or Aquaman on it, that's revenue that you can continue to make. So when you reboot, you basically in a way cut off the relevancy to the things that you can still be making money on. That's how I see it. All right, what era of Batman are they modeling? Rat me is All right, everybody's going to differ on this, but this is just my take, having grown up with the Batman I grew up with. He reminds me of Batman Year One, Batman Year One, Batman Year Two. The atmosphere that Gotham that they give the Gotham reminds me of what Miller did there, and the suit, everything, and the way he is perceived it reminds me of Batman Year One and Year Two. That's my opinion, but there's going to be a lot of people that'll probably be all over the place with that. But mine is Batman Year One, Batman Year One or Two, mainly one. Do you think Top Gun director producer are too good for Superman, knowing that James Gunn will probably infuse the silliness into DCEU with other characters that won't match it? No, because I don't think James Gunn is going to do that. Remember, this is James Gunn, the executive, so it's a different animal than James Gunn, the director. And just because James Gunn has done things that have had silliness and stuff in them, because that's what he was doing, doesn't mean he can't do something completely different than that, or that he can't demand something different than that. We only are judging him of what we've seen and what he's been called on to do. That is not the full scope of James Gunn's talent. I'm always going to bring up this example because it's the perfect example. Jonathan Demme made romantic comedies. He made Married to the Mob. Is there anything in those movies that would tell you he can make the greatest horror movie, one of the greatest horror movies of all time, and Silence of the Lambs? You know what? But a producer, a screenwriter, they all sit down and they have conversations that we don't have. They see things in each other that we just don't. We don't have the apparatus to see. There are certain criteria and certain things that a producer, James Gunn, or a studio head, James Gunn, is going to sit down and ask of a director that are going to be different than the things you've seen from James Gunn. Not everything is going to be Peacemaker. Not everything is going to be Slither. Not everything is going to be the Suicide Squad. If he's given a mandate, he will use his talent and ability and his flexibility to meet that mandate, and he'll demand that of the people he hires. I always not warn people, I always just caution people, never judge a producer or director or an actor just from what they have shown you. That is not the full breadth of their ability. That's what you've seen. The little glimpse that you've seen, that's it. Like Heath Ledger. Is there anything from Brokeback Mountain or First Night that said Joker? I laughed when they first brought that out. But yet, somebody saw in him something that this fanboy could not see. And that's why they're doing what they're doing. So trust in the talent that we have now and the guys we have now. I don't think you're going to see silliness and all that. And I don't think any director would have a problem working McCoy or anybody else would have a problem with working for James Gunn. This is a brotherhood of directors, and I think they'll be fine. All right, I haven't hit 100 yet. Hey, man, look, it took me forever, man. Listen, I'm in the small minority on this, I guess, because everybody else loved Barbarian. I thought Barbarian was gross, and I didn't think it had a point towards the end there. The last act of Barbarian, it just really, 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 really disappointed me. I thought that movie, like I said, the first 2 acts were going in traditional direction where I could have put it up with one of the better horror movies of the year. That last act just didn't do it for me. Tore it apart. What's he been in? I have to look him up. I'm not familiar with that name. Fourth. Where? I did read your comments. I read all your comments. Yeah, I read all your comments. I don't think I missed anything. And I'm looking at all the comments, so none of them are hidden from me. I think I got you. I think I got you, Anthony. I don't think I missed you. I got you. All right. Would Mr. Freeze, in your honest opinion, work better in Matt Reeves' universe? Both. I would love, dude. I would love to see the serial killer action, or what kind of devices that he would use to be Mr. Freeze. I mean, you saw the Riddler was basically the Zodiac killer for the most part. Not a wisecracking, riddle making, full and bright green question marks and everything else, but yet he was the Riddler all the same. So I am very interested to see how he would do it. Would he capture people and put them in a quick freeze device, or use cryogenic or something like that? Would he walk around with a capsule or a van or something like that, where he catches people and tosses them in there? And I don't think Matt Reeves' Batman would be, have walking around with this big dome and be all blue and stuff like that, and be wearing a silver suit with a backpack and freeze stuff on that. I think it would, if anybody has ever watched Dexter, the very first season of Dexter, the ice truck killer was a serial killer who froze his victims, and that allowed him to kill them at different times and release the bodies at different times, because the freezing would preserve the bodies, so that the people doing the crime labs couldn't quite nail down when they died. He could be like a mobster, or a mob enforcer, or something like that uses sadistic torture, freeze torture. There's a lot of ways you could do it. In the DCU, I would want to see, I'd want to see the full on Ray. I would want to see the full on costume type, not goofy in the comic book type, but I would want to see more of a colorful type of one that fit that universe. So I think they could both be great. To be honest with you, I've been interested in both. Yeah, Malignant was a better movie too. So yeah. All right. Well, the reason why I chose Bradley Cooper specifically, because he's in his mid-40s, and you might be able to get 5 or 6 movies for Batman out of him instead of 3 out of John. I think you could get 5. I mean, like I said, we're talking a John Hamm 51. Say he does the movie. By the time he does the movie, he would be. Hold on, how old is John Hamm? I think John Hamm is 50. I think John Hamm just turned 50. Wow, there's a lot of John Hamms. Damn, actor John Hamm. All right, so we're not talking about the guy who's born in 1971. Let's look at Top Gun. John Hamm. All right, John Hamm, March 10th, 1971. So he's 51 years old. So by the time let's say we casted it now, we got him going on with, he's 52 years old. Given the way he looks like now, like I said, it's Hollywood. I think you could you're only talking about getting, I don't think you need to get 5 or 6 movies out of him, by the way. I think that you would probably 3 would be the most you want out of any of these actors, to be honest with you. I think that you're only going to get another 2 single movies out of Henry Cavill. I think you're only going to get 1 or 2 more out of Gal Gadot. I think you're going to only get 2 more, maybe 2 more out of Aquaman, plus there are other movies. But I don't think you were going to get 5 or 6 out of any of these guys. Like, single movie. So if you're talking about 5 total, I don't. Well, if you're talking about 5, including Justice League or any crossovers, some of those would probably be filmed at the same time. So his age wouldn't matter because I doubt you would be filming one film every other year. I think if you did say if you did a World's Finest and you did a Batman movie, you would probably do the World's Finest one year and you would shoot the Batman movie next year and then another movie the other year. So you're talking 3 straight years of filming, and he'd only be 55, 56. So I think you could get the movies you need out of John Hamm. Bradley Cooper, I wouldn't be opposed to Bradley Cooper either. I mean, that's a good call. My favorite would be John Hamm, but if I woke up and Bradley Cooper was my Batman, how old is Bradley Cooper? I think Bradley Cooper's getting up there too, isn't he? Bradley Cooper is. Hey, Bradley Cooper's 47, so he's up there with me. So, but once again, age to these Hollywood guys is nothing, man. They're aliens, dude. They landed from another planet, or it's like on Black Panther or Neymar. They ate off the root, and they don't age like us anymore. So we could get a while. James Wan is the worst for horror. He's also called ooh man, a lot of people like James Wan. I mean, I'm indifferent. I mean, I like some of his stuff, but I'm not. I think the new Gods movie is a good idea, just not directed by Evan Newey. Yeah, I really think that's one of the things I hope that we get by not rebooting anything is we get the rest of the new God special out, and I want to see the version that spawned from Justice League. I want to see that big Bart. I want to see that Granny Goodness. I want to see that Decide. I want to see them followed out, and I want to see what kind of new Genesis we would get as well from that point of view. So I hope we get that. William, if they get 2 or 3 movies out of Gal, Jason, and Henry, then they decide to reboot, would that make a lot? Yeah, monetary. Yeah, and not only would it make more monetary sense, it would make more transitional sense because, like I said, if you transition in this, if you lead me calmly down a path into another path, I am more likely to stay with you because you gain my trust. You finish things, you've shown me things, and you're priming me, and you're slowly moving towards this. If you just give up and do a hard reboot and just throw your plates down on the ground, then all I got is a broken plate. I don't want to. I'm done with you. So if we use these guys to ultimately transition into to something else, I think we would be fine. What they were going to do before was stupid, and I think it would have severed with not just hardcore geeks. I think the general public would have been like, "You again?" Ugh. All right, out of all the Blu-rays, Man of Steel is 35 on the all-time highest ranking best-selling. BVS is 45. DC media, dude. I didn't get the damn Zack Snyder's Justice League Glow in the Dark because it's sold out. I mean, we're driving all over the place looking for that thing. All I got was the empty cardboard thing, and all the other goofy ones that had the glow in the dark. But Zack Snyder Justice League was out. Right? I didn't get the box sets that hit Walmart. That sold out. I didn't get BVS when it came out. I had to order it wholesale. I didn't get that because these things sell out. Now, granted, they make enough for them to sell out. But if you got to do some common sense math here with all the Walmarts and all the Targets and all the Best Buys and all the places that are getting these things. If they sell out, that's still, even if you're ordering, to sell out, that's still a lot of selling. And that's still a lot of, that tells you that if you package things and do things right, your physical media can still sell. All right. Like I've always told people, my idea for finishing off the Dark Side arc was to take all these movies, wait till Aquaman comes out, wait till Aquaman or maybe the Flash, however they want to do it, or if they want to do it now, take all the stuff that Snyder did and make a kick-ass box set. I mean, some cool stuff in there. I mean, just put a piece of damn Superman suit in there for you, a little quarter like they did with the Iron Man stuff that they did. Make it, I mean, just premium, just kick-ass like they did with Blade Runner's suitcase for the Ultimate Edition, where all 7 editions of Blade Runner that were released at the time were in a the Voight comp test, and you popped it open. You had a little toy spinner. You had a little crystal thing with the movie slid in it. You had all kinds of stuff, the little origami stuff, the unicorn. You do a DC thing like that with Aquaman in it, with Man of Steel in it, with Shazam in it if you want to, with Wonder Woman, the original Wonder Woman, or you want to put Wonder Woman, just put them all in a box Blu-ray set, and then as a DVD extra that you can only get by getting a physical media, you have the wrap up story, the original Dark Side arc in that box. All right, and now you can justify the money you're going to spend on it because you're going to sell that box sets. Trust me, and I don't even care what the price is. People are going; those will not sit at Zia Records or Tower or .com or any place. Those will not sit at Best Buy. People are going to buy those. All right. So you can justify the money you're going to spend on that. And then after a while, you start putting it on HBO Max like 6 months later. But as a bonus, you don't have to film a whole bunch of movies. You just make the ending of the Dark Side saga and you put it in that big box set. I would buy that now. All right. I would buy that now if that were available. And then you wrap that up. That's what I think about what they should do with visual media. You make everything relevant again. I mean, you can make the mother box. You can make it the mother box if you want to, or you can make it Superman's cat. I mean, BVS. I mean, you can make it anything you wanted to, or you can make different collector boxes. One for the Flash, one for Aquaman, one for Superman. All right, and but they all have that thing in there, and then you have your digital copy. I mean, you can make it work. All right, William, I really don't think they're going to keep Ezra as a Flash, even if they cleared. They don't want the negative press. I don't think Peter and James are going to cut Ezra loose. I think, I don't know. I mean, right now, nobody's talking about it but us on YouTube and Twitter. And the press that it's getting is not, like I've always said, is not going to resonate with most of the public. Most of the general public does not care what Ezra Miller is doing right now. All right. Most of them don't even know about it. Outside of YouTube and Twitter and a couple of other, dirt sheets, nobody knows or cares. And let's say they did. Once again, do not assume that your consumer, your buying public, gives a rat's ass about it either way. I always use the example of Deshaun Watson with his 21 rape allegations. You think those people in the dog pound won't be in there in that freezing snow with them little rubber dog hats and the bones rooting for him the first day he's eligible to play a game? They'll be out there and they'll be rooting for him. All right. Let's not assume that because we or somebody on YouTube or somebody on Twitter thinks what Ezra Miller is done is or maybe accused of is reprehensible, that the audience will. In all likelihood, by the time this movie comes out, the audience, unless he goes full Richard Ramirez or OJ going, white Bronco down the highway on the news, unless he goes to that level, by the time June, July comes out, nobody's going to care. And if nobody cares, your business is not to require people to care about that. Now, if the Flash goes out and makes good money, let's say the Flash, I'm throwing out there, Flash makes $1 billion, and their research determines that he was a big part of that. Don't assume just based on our morals and our expectations that a company whose job it is to make money and make content that makes money will not reconsider keeping him. I've heard all the pundits in the world that say, there's no way they're going to do this. There's no way they're going to do that. None of those guys are spending Warner Brothers money. None of those guys are making Warner Brothers Discovery's money. So at the end of the day, it's going to be up to Warner Brothers Discovery whether they continue. And I think a lot of that, believe it or not, is going to depend on business. If the movie does good business and he's considered to be part of that and they're going to make a sequel, I always say money talks, bullshit walks, man. So I don't know, but do not rule it out just based on what we know on YouTube and Twitter and back pages of, certain trades. It's just, to the average fan, that just stuff doesn't matter. All right, let's say William DC does decide they'd be Martian Manhunter as a cameo. Specifically, which superhero would he make more sense debuting in terms of the movie? Cavill. Well, he's already. It depends on what they consider to be canon. If they consider Zack Snyder's Justice League to be canon, he's already been introduced to Batman. So Batman would more than likely seek him out. But he makes a lot of sense also with Cavill because both of them are the last of their species for the most part. So they would probably relate on a level too. So either one of them, Green Lantern. I mean, it depends on it all depends on the story too. Fourth 1000, David Berenza as Angel on Buffy. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, he was on Bones. Yeah, now I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. All right. Yeah, Mr. Weed in his windowless lights van, and he just drives around, and the windows are always frosted. That'd be cool, like Michael Myers. For the next Matt Reeves Batman, the two villains I would like to see be the Scarecrow and Two-Face. How would you like Matt Reeves to do those characters? I don't know, man. I mean, um, Scarecrow. Ugh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the headspace for that one right now. Phew. Like I said, he seems just judging on what he's done with the Riddler and what his Joker looks like. He seems to be people that would be actually happening. So that's one key about Matt Reeves' universe is that I've always or Matt Reeves as Batman that I think I understand is that he makes a Batman that one of us could be, and his enemies are people that could be around us. And we have killers and people in prison and serial killers and mass murderers around us now. So his villains would probably be along that. Don't know exactly how he would make them look because, like I said, I had no idea how Paul Dano would look as the Riddler until I saw it. So that's a tough one for me. For the idea of supernatural characters not being a fit for Reeves' universe doesn't make sense. None of these characters are supposed to exist in the DC world, which is why people are. I think what they mean by that is like I just explained is because everything in the Reeves universe are things that have happened that we are all the way around. There's a Riddler can be in our world right now. A super human alien from Krypton probably not going to be in our world. A clay face that would that can change shape from mud to human form is not in our world right now. Mr. Freeze walking around with a freeze ray is not in our world right now. So these characters, they could be in his world, but they would have to, in order for them to be believable in the structure that he has set up, they would have to be believable as things that could happen in our world. That seems to be the key to his universe. So yeah, supernatural characters and things like that don't seem to be things that he even wants to put in there. Right now, everything in his world that we've seen so far are things that can happen. The Penguin is not some deformed, bow-legged looking dude. He looks like a mobster that would be in our world. Carmine Falcone, a mobster that would be in our world. Everything in Matt Reeves' universe is something that could literally happen right now, or we could be in the midst of right now. Whereas other Superman and Batman movies, that is not the case. So, for the most part, and that's what this is based on what he's shown. But he could change that. That'd be up to him. John Hamm just seems softer Batman. He could play me. Okay, but once again, these are actors. These are people whose jobs are literally is to become something else. Because we've seen him play these roles doesn't mean he could not blow your mind and be something that you haven't seen. There are a lot of actors, if you look at the breadth of and the scope of their career, that have played all over the place. Now, there are some actors that aren't as talented that seem to be playing the same guy in every movie, and it works for them. But there are the good ones, the upper level ones, like that. Like I think he is, could show you things that you haven't seen yet because it has not been asked of him. If I get Dave Chappelle, right, and I say Dave Chappelle, I need you to play a comedian in a movie, but I need you to play a very serious comedian. I need you to play and I'm not saying James, I'm just throwing out James Chappelle because he's on my screen right now on TV, but any comedic actor like that's done just comedy and that's all they've done, and they've only done comedy movies. I think I could take that same actor and I could tell them if it is within their ability to be an actor. If I put them a script in front of their face and say, this is what I need you to be, it is literally their job to become that. So the other stuff is not relevant that may have built the perception that they may be soft because it's all an act. So John Hamm for Metallo. Bradley Cooper does not have the chin. Oh, come on, guys. Makeup. We have makeup. We give him the chin. Give him the jaw. You know, if we can put a fake mustache on Superman, we can put a jawline on John Hamm. I can see that Mattel will be a good. I still think Batman. What are your opinions about? Ooh, we're almost time where. What are your opinions about Paramount hiring Walter Amada for their horror division? I think that's a great move. I think that's what he's good at. I think that he's a fit for that division. He did well with New Line's horror division, and he's a respected executive in the field. I thought he was a horrible fit for DC Films. I said that from the first day. And I said that given what he gave us, I thought all those people that worked with him were horrible fits for DC and Warner Brothers by that extension. So it doesn't surprise me that each and every one of these guys may end up with a better gig that fits him somewhere else. Congratulations to Walter Amada. He is where I think he fits better, and congrats. All right, so let me go into some of these Batman, and then we'll get back to the chat. Batman has been played by a lot of people over the decades. Some of these you guys have seen, some of them you have not seen. So here we go. Here are the actors that have played Batman. All right, so let's go. All right, so Louis G. Wilson. Wow, look at that costume, and look at the Robin behind him. Oh my goodness! But you know what? Back in 1940s, 1943, as a 15-part Columbia serial, Batman. You know, this was top notch. This was top notch, and at 1943, that means Batman's only been in existence for 4 years. And there you go. That is that. And if you look at Detective Comics number 27, as silly as that looks right now, look at Detective Comics number 27. He's right on with that. You know, look at those trunks. Oh my god. All right, and then after Batman Wilson's career went nowhere, I'm sorry. Most of his roles went uncredited. His next biggest movie was in 1951 cult classics, Bawanga. Never heard of that. A few years later, he was out of showbiz altogether. His son, Michael G. Wilson, however, fared better in Hollywood, becoming executive producer of James Bond series. Louis G. Wilson died in 2000. And there he is. And there's Robert Lowry. He took over the role, basically the same costume for the most part, with some differences. And he played Batman in 1949's Batman and Robin. Unlike Lewis, Lowry at 36 at the time. The previous guy was only 26, was a veteran actor, having already appeared in The Mark of Zorro, 1940, and The Mummy's Ghost, 1944, and Dangerous Passage, 1944. He also filled out the Batsuit better than Lewis, with his utility belt hanging where you would expect it on a superhero. Yeah, this guy has it all the way up to his chest. So yeah, there you go. So those are the 40s Batman. Now this is the one that the very first Batman that I saw as a child, because he was on TV, and it's the late great Adam West, who I was a couple weeks away from meeting. He passed away. That picture you guys see when I show up my store of Stan Lee, Adam West was supposed to appear at that 2017 Amazing Comic-Con. He passed away 3 weeks prior. Burt Ward and both Catwomen were there, however, but yeah, it was a tribute to him. Adam West, the man's logging the most hours in the Batcave, of course, was William West Anderson, whom you probably know better as Adam West. Either you love him for his goofy charm or hate him for blemishing the Bat's image for several decades. His campy, over-the-top portrayal of Gotham's Guardian infiltrated nearly every medium, including 1966 movie and several animated series. Let has it producer William Dozier cast West after seeing him play James Bond-like spy called Captain Q in a Nestle Quick TV ad. He beat future Wonder Woman co-star Lyle Wagner for the role. Dozier, who supposedly hated comic books, that it showed, decided the only way the show would be successful is if they camped it up, so blame him. Oh, man. The great Adam West. And then we have Michael Keaton. Now, at one time, Michael Keaton was it for me. This is coming off of my experiences with The Dark Knight, with Killing Joke, Batman Year One, Batman Year 2 and 3. The Batman comic was doing well at the time. Batman comic was probably doing his best sales that it had ever done. And here we come. We hadn't had a DC superhero movie since the last debacle that was Superman. And we hadn't had a Batman movie, like a proper Batman movie, since 1966. So this was the modern era Batman. This was one of the first movies to make 200 million like that, first superhero movie. And Michael Keaton is it. Now, people hear me say that I don't think Michael Keaton should be in the costume and the cowl now. That's because when you see this picture, this was back in 1989. It's not 1989 anymore. And Batman Returns was released in 1992. We're nearly in 2023. That's 30 years ago. Times have changed. I don't like doing nostalgia for nostalgia's sakes. So I hope he fits in whatever they're doing. But for 14-year-old me, this was it, man. For almost every adult around us, Batman t-shirts are everywhere. This guy right here, even though I don't think he has as much relevancy 30 years later, he still has a historical relevancy, period. He was the breakthrough Batman. And then, he did his 2 movies, and now you're going to see him coming up. Now these guys consider Kevin Conroy as an overall appearance. And like I said, I have no problem. For a lot of you, especially a lot of you who are just now approaching your 30s, and maybe even 40s, this was the first Batman you saw. Wow, I wish I could have been there for you to hand you a copy of The Dark Knight Returns. But hey, my issues with this Batman were the fact that, like I said, as cool as it was, as Nora as it was, I could never get into it the way I could get into all other formats of Batman simply because I feel that they softened this up and made this for kids. And I never, ever will never believe, no matter how many people try to make one, there is no such thing as a Batman for kids. All right, Batman is a brutal vigilante. He comes from a brutal environment where people are killed on a daily basis. Their skulls crushed by him. It's murder capital of all comics. It is not the place that you portray in a cartoon. So I never bought into this. Like I said, rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. You were a legend. But this version of Batman, it is not even on my list for that reason. I appreciate it being on this list and being on other people's list, but I do not consider Batman the animated series to me as top Batman. I know people hate me for it, but it's live action or nothing at all. All right, Val Kilmer. All right, so this was a problem. Yeah, there you go, bat nipples. And this is where the money that the previous Batman movies made started to make it a little bit more goofy. This was one of the last ones before it got really ridiculous. So, and this is actually one of my favorite ones. This is the one that had Two-Face and the Riddler in it, and it had a really kick-ass ad campaign. I have the glasses at the store that the McDonald's put out this one. I did not think Val Kilmer did a bad Batman, and I thought for the first time they actually surrounded him with the type of villainy that fit for the mid-90s. This was 1995 when this came out. I thought this was the last good Batman of that series. And then we got George Clooney, and by that time it had just gotten ridiculous and silly. This was Batman and Robin. Robin came out. Robin in this one had a pretty kick-ass normal traditional costume. They tried to make him Nightwing in this one, and it just did not do well. All right, Christian Bale, not my favorite Batman at all. Not even my favorite Batman movies. For me, the Dark Knight trilogy comes down to Heath Ledger's Joker. I thought the first one bored me to tears. I think it's one of the most overrated Batman movies of all time. I think the Dark Knight, absent Heath Ledger, when I watch the Dark Knight over and over again, I don't watch the whole movie. And there are 2 other Academy Award winners. There's 3. If you look at it in hindsight, there's actually 4 Academy Award winners in this movie. There's Lucius Fox, Michael Caine, Bale, and then posthumously Heath Ledger. I don't watch The Dark Knight for any of those. I watch them for Heath Ledger's Joker. Those movies are in The Dark Knight Rises was a huge letdown for me. So as a trilogy, I don't have much regard for this trilogy. I have regard for some of that standout performances, but to me, the Dark Knight trilogy, Nolan's trilogy, comes down to Heath Ledger. And be honest with you, if Heath Ledger doesn't give the epic performance he gives, that movie makes probably, if not less, right around the same amount as Batman Begins. And then who knows if we even get Dark Knight Rises. We got to Dark Knight Rises as because of the $1 billion success that came from the Dark Knight. But once again, that was all Ledger. All right, then we got Lego stuff, Will Arnett, and then I don't watch these. Sorry, guys, but I will recognize that Will Arnett was a Batman. And then here's my favorite. My favorite is that image right there. That image right there. That suit. Everything about that is taken right out of Frank Miller's Batman. Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, and is the look, the feel, the pessimism, everything about this Batman is what I liked. So that is where that's the list of people who have played Batman. I did not rank them because, like I said, I have various degrees of love for them and some disdain, and some of them were, I went I didn't do Pattinson's, or did I do Pattinson's first? Let me look at this. I don't think they skipped Pattinson. Pattinson right there. Not my favorite Batman, but he is in my favorite Batman movie. So those are the people who have played Batman. So let me go ahead and look and see how many people are going to shred me for my opinions. All right, let's see. Okay, William. Also, I do not think Peter and James want to deal with the toxicity that is Zack Snyder's Justice League car, so I don't think they will want to follow him. I think they would, because they know that that's the majority of fans are not like that. I think James Gunn has expressed it. I think a lot of people and a lot of pundits and a lot of people media-wise will focus on the knuckleheads and the knucklejaggers, but a good director and someone who's been in touch with social media as much as James Gunn does completely understands that the vast majority of us are not toxic, and he's been dealing with toxic fans almost since his debut back in Choma. So I don't think James Gunn is going to let toxic fandom move the needle. He's going to do what he's going to do, and you either like it or you don't. And that's always been James Gunn's way, all the way back to where he's doing low budget stuff for Lloyd Kaufman. So I don't think the toxic fans are going to harm him or move the needle for once at all. I would like to DC had have a Catwoman in it for Batfleck. That would instead be used Phantasm as a love interest, since it was mentioned in BBS. I'm open-minded to just about everything. Well, the issue that I thought is issue with that though is you really think parents, if reading the Deadline or Hollywood Reporter, really want Ezra as a role model for the kids? They don't care. Ezra, first of all, I don't think Ezra's not a role model for their kids one way or another, whether he's the greatest guy in the world or whether he's a serial killer. None of these guys, the role model for their kids is them, the parents. And like I said, they're going to have to stay in the house if that's their criteria. And plus, if they're reading Deadline to begin with, but if their role model is that the guy on your screen can't be a role model for your kids, then you might have to stay home, because there's a lot of guys on the screen that have some stuff going on, and a lot of guys behind the scenes and the executive levels and the director levels that got a lot of stuff going on. And we still go to see movies, and we still take our kids to go see these movies. So I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. I think parents these days and kids these days are a little bit, they know how to take things in that type of context, especially the ones that go to see these movies. I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. Like I said, Robert Downey Jr. was in a jumpsuit getting sentenced to time. All right. Was behind bars, in and out of rehab on multiple occasions. He's Iron Man, and people know his history, and the parents know his history. So I think we'll be fine there. I'm just going to guess, was he? Look that up. All right, so we're going to wrap it up. Hey, Scary Show, how you doing? I'm worried about what they're going to do and try with the Joker. I'm just going to give you some advice, especially when it comes to just to be open-minded about it. That's where I've gotten. I mean, we had to have our defenses up because the previous management fucked things up so bad. But right now, I just say be open-minded to it. You know what I mean? Let these guys give you their perception of the Joker. And that's for everybody. Let go of our perception of the Joker in order to let a new one in. And I think that's the problem that people could not do when it came to the Snyder stuff, is they could not let go of their perception of their Batman, the Superman they have in their head, in order for them to enjoy and possibly enjoy themselves on a new one. So I think everybody should should just be open-minded. All right, I say the Batman should technically build towards a bigger ideal, like the Court of Owls, realistic. I see. I agree with you. I think the Court of Owls is amazing. I think they're kind of overused in the comics right now because this is really only credible enemy sometimes. But in theatrical, especially for people who aren't as don't read the comics, I think the Court of Owls would be an awesome enemy, awesome and fully encompassed enemy for them. And they can use the Court of Owls as a back enemy and have a main enemy, and still use the Court of Owls as a backdrop enemy too. So. I don't think so. I never, not as good as Matt Reeves did. He did a grounded bat. When I say our world, I'm talking about people that would be in our world. I don't see that. I ain't seen shit like that Joker ever in my life, but it's cool to see it on his Bane. Where's the last time you saw that? But you can go on your news right now, and you can go on any headline in any city, and there's people getting killed by serial killers. There's murders, outright murders happening. There's all kinds of stuff happening that happens to us every day. When's the last time you had a fool with a painted face and a cracked up smile, dressed up as a clown, robbing banks like they did there? That was outlandish. All right. When is the last time? Like I said, in the scare, all that stuff that Nolan did, it looked realistic. He made it look realistic. He made it look grounded, but it's not to the level that in my opinion, this is just my opinion for it, that Matt Reeves did. I thought Matt Reeves made a world that we could be in. That Batman, I could relate to that Batman. That Gotham was awesome. That car, that's a damn looks like a damn Dodge Charger I see down the street. With an engine. So, and that penguin looks like every crime lord that has ever lived in Vegas. I think that Reeves just did it better. He hit the point more. So that's why I think that resonates with me. William, here's an idea for Scarecrow. Can you model him after either Son of Sam or BTK? This is talking about Matt Reeves. Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, forgive me if I'm a little bit of a serial killer aficionado. I love serial killers. I love studying them. So that's why I love Matt Reeves' Batman so much. It's like, dude, I just heard this is the Zodiac speaking. BTK. Ooh, BTK. Now you want to talk about a vicious killer. BTK is, wow. He wasn't just a killer. He made you suffer. His BTK means bind, torture, kill. So just imagine what he was doing on your way down. Looks like he has a bat diaper. Okay, I'm skipping that. William, you should model Batman trucks. Hot. No, I'm trying to get subscribers, not chase people away. All right, William, a friend of mine just sold his Detective Comics #2 in mint condition. #2 or 27? 650. Hey, congratulations. That's some good cheddar, man. 650 grand. Tell him to break me off 100 grand. Hashtag, people are writing to WB to recast Michael Keaton when he was announced. People went up in arms. We don't want him. Yeah, and that's the same thing. Like I said, I appreciate that fans. It's a fun conversation to have. That's why I never turn it down. It's hard for me because whenever somebody asks me, like I say, outside of John Hamm, automatically, because I know what type of Batman we're replacing. When we're talking, if we were talking about a brand new Batman with a brand new script, but if we're talking going along the same lines as the Zack Snyder's Batman, the Dark Knight Batman, and John Hamm fits for me. I can already see that. But when it's a totally new concept, when it's a totally new superhero or a totally new thing that we've never seen before, we don't know what that creator is and has in mind. I had no idea what I would see when I heard Heath Ledger for the first time, and when I saw him for the first time. I had no idea that he could even do that. But you know who did? Christopher Nolan did. And Heath Ledger knew he had it in him. So for all the stuff that we say that, this guy would do this, and that, these guys are the upper 1 percentile of their craft. So Michael Keaton becoming Bruce Wayne, becoming Batman was his job. And it's the same thing with any of these other guys. Like I said, when you think about it, all we have as fans is what these guys have done before. You know, if a guy like Jonathan Demme is in romantic comedies and stuff like that, that's all we have. And so our minds automatically jump to that circle that it's going to be exactly what he did before. Even though, as I've always said, a storyteller is a storyteller, period. Every storyteller at that level has the dynamics to tell any story that you ask them to. You just have to ask them to, or that has to be the goal. I have no doubt in my mind that James Gunn could direct any type of movie I asked him to if I were his boss. I have no doubt in my mind that some of these actors that you guys have bought up, all of them would be good, that could play the role regardless of what they've played before or how they look. We have makeup artists that make them look however we need them to look, and they are actors. It's their job to become someone else. So I think everybody that these guys have bought up would work. I don't think there's no way you could say that um, one guy would work over another when we don't know the concept, we don't know the script, and we don't know the look and feel that the creator is doing. So these conversations are fun, but it's up to a lot of it's subjective. Batman Begins, dude. Maybe because I watched it on deployment. Batman Begins put me to sleep. It literally, no joke. Literally, I had to fight with consciousness. I thought I don't think any. But I guess I don't think any of them were great outside of Heath Ledger's iconic performance. I thought the movie was long. I thought. I don't. When I think of Dark Knight, I don't even remember a lot of the stuff that doesn't include Heath Ledger. It's Heath Ledger for me. So, Aaron Pritchard, hello. Animated Batman doesn't belong on this list. Sorry. I agree. My list would only. I chose this list because it will be universal to the people I knew are watching. But I agree. And like I said, no disrespect for Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill. These are great people. They were great at their jobs. I just have very little use for Batman the Animated Series in my lexicon, in my headspace, for the Batman that I grew up with. That's just me, though. If you do, that is perfectly fine. It's just for me. I just, and that goes for several other forms of cartoons in the 90s as well. Like I said, I think there was a launching pad for some bad stuff, and that I think I just didn't agree with. And coming from picking up my first Batman's being Frank Miller stuff, and then turning around, and seeing cartoons, and it's just no. All right, that dude Vince, animated or live action, it's all bad. Whoa, you're picking a fight. Me and Aaron are coming for you, Vince. Just kidding. All right, good night, Vince. Yeah, we're about to wrap it up here too. Batman is too close to my heart to not worry. All right, the Batman movie had too many characters. Should have focused more on the Riddler. It's a fair point, but I think that a lot of those things held up the movie. Whereas a Batman movie, a lot of it focuses on one or two characters. This Batman was trying to introduce you to an environment. I thought they hit, but you know what? That's a fair comment. The real Joker is a supervillain. The one, but he's just now, dude. Who knows these days? I'm interested in seeing all interpretations of Joker because they've never really nailed it down. In real life, they've never really nailed down what even the Killing Joke, which was supposed to be the origin story. Turns out that may be an origin story. It's all subjective. William, since you own a comic store, what is the highest trade in that you ever received in terms of either a Marvel comic or DC comic for either Captain America, Iron Man, Batman, Superman? Wow, because I don't deal in a lot of back issues. It's a hard question. Trading. Ooh. Iron Man is going to be Iron Man 55. That was Thanos' first appearance. I got that. I actually got that on the trade and in cash. It was years and years ago. Batman. It was an early golden age detective. I didn't even. I traded it away literally like 3 days later for a whole haul of comics because it was like a $600 book. Ooh, I'd have to be in the store to look up some of this stuff. Captain America. Oh, jeez. I can't recall in Captain America because I know I have some Tales of Suspense stuff um, before they turned. So I think that were Captain America stories. Same thing with Iron Man. There's a lot of characters that were created in Tales of Suspense before it was transferred over. Um, when I get to the comics, when I do the rewatch, because I rewatch all the streams, I'm gonna give you a better answer, Anthony. That's a tough one, and it's late at night. That's a good. You guys got good questions. I just right now at the house, I don't have that thing. William, in the long run, I felt the character Joker role bad for Heath Ledger's mentals. Well, and plus he had some other issues going on, and ultimately, I think he was mentally fine. I just think he accidentally overdosed. From everything I've heard, he just was having issues. He always had issues sleeping, and he took a cocktail of things that he shouldn't have taken. And whenever you self medicate like that, man, dude, it's tough. But when you have your own personal physicians like Michael Jackson, I mean, doing stuff to help him sleep, that ended up putting him to sleep forever. It's like, they have access to things that may not be good for them when it comes to like trying to get sleep like that. Michael Keaton was a badass Batman. In 1989, 14-year-old me yipped and yeed over him and bought everything to do with Michael Keaton Batman. I'm not 14 anymore. It's not 1989. And I like him where he is in history, just like Christopher Reeve's Superman where he was in history. But where we run afoul is when we try to take that magic into 2022. It just doesn't fit here. All right. It fits in HBO Max where I can watch these things over and over again. It fits on the Blu-rays and the physical media stuff that I have of all these things. It doesn't fit in a 2022 storyline for me. I mean, now, once again, I'll have to see what they do. But I also am wondering, okay, a lot of you guys weren't even born when the last Batman Keaton movie was even made. I mean, you might have grown up with it, but is it different for you guys? It's just part of a library, or us that watched it live. I mean, who are they aiming for here? So it's like, whereas Ben Affleck's Batman is literally within our wheelhouse. It's literally within all of us, no matter what generation, have all seen in Ben Affleck. If we're watching DC movies, have seen Ben Affleck on screen, in a movie theater. And he would, and same thing with Pattinson. So, well, I've been thinking it would be cool to have Bradley Cooper Batman. I like have Michael King come back as Terry McGinnis. Um, I think you're talking about Michael Keaton. I think that's what you meant. I put Batman Beyond in the same category as I put Batman the Animated Series. I'm sorry. Um, I don't know if we ever get a Batman Beyond, it'll be because it's James Gunn, and James Gunn will have the latitude. If it were anybody else, a lot of people, everybody I've ever ran into that watches Batman Beyond thinks that a bunch more people watched it than they actually did. And there's a reason why you haven't seen. Warner Brothers has milked everything over the last 20, 30 years. There's a reason why you haven't seen that much from Batman Beyond. That's because I think they know that the audience is just not that big for it. Now, that might mean shit to James Gunn. James Gunn gave you Polka Dot Man. So if you're gonna get a Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton or anybody else, it's because James Gunn is a wild man that does what he wants to, and he has a lot of power now. All right. I disagree. I think James Gunn is going to be great for DC. You got to realize we need to define what DC is before we say a guy that is not. What is DC right now? I mean, we have a mix of Zack Snyder, we have a mix of Hamada, we got a mix of all kinds of other things. What is DC right now? And when you have that kind of inconsistency, I think James Gunn and his partner Peter Safran are going to be good. Could be wrong. Could be a year from now we're talking about what a disaster James Gunn. But right now, I got a good feeling about what James Gunn can do. 2 more movies. Oh, cool. Thank you. I had Ongo from the Scary Show. I had him on our overnight show a couple of weeks ago, so he could pimp his show. And he is doing a feature on the Sci-Fi Center tomorrow at the 7 a.m. Upload. I'm going to see if I can put that in our mentions and stuff like that. Go over to his channel if you guys have not already subscribed. Just go into the search engine and look up the Scary Show. And we played some of his stuff when we had him on. dude, he's got a voice to kill for, man. I'll go. You need to be making millions with your voice, though. Yeah, they do that sometimes. I think, and the Tom Holland ones, his hair raises and stuff like that. The only thing that I've ever seen that's inconsistent when it comes to Spider-Man, Spider-Shane, is he's always fighting people, and that he should be killing with a punch. That always can outmuscle him. I'm like, wait a minute, you can lift 10 tons. What happened, dude? But that always happens. Yeah, yeah. I actually thought George Clooney actually played a pretty good Bruce Wayne. So, all right, Ben 9. Do you think we will ever get a William Dafoe Joker? I don't know. We could. I mean, we could because it's all out there on the table. Depends on who's telling the story and what era we're talking about. We could do a 3 Jokers, and he could be one of them. I mean, it's all open right now. It's not as love or hate James Gunn and Peter Safran. The fact that everything is a possibility right now is really a good feeling to have. All right, before Paramount hired Walter Amato, will you come to the prize that Disney and Marvel didn't come to Walter to be Kevin Feige? No, because there's nothing in his resume that says he would be a fit for that. There is, however, plenty in his resume that says he would be a fit for the job that he took. There's nothing in Disney for him or Marvel for him. Running a horror division is what he's really, 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 really good at, and that's what he's doing for Paramount. So I think that they got a good hire. I think they got a good hire, and I think after working for Warner Brothers, he probably wanted something that was his own, something that where he could just produce horror movies and not have to deal. Probably doesn't want to deal with superheroes anymore. So, all right, guys, it's been an hour and a half, a little bit, about 30 minutes more than I wanted to go. I wanted to talk some Batman with you guys. I wanted to go over some of the live actors who played Batman, and we ended up answering some general questions, which I always don't have a problem with, whether we're on topic or not. And we will be back tomorrow or tonight. If Enosh is not streaming, he has a new show. I don't know what time it's going to be. If Enosh is not streaming, we'll be at our normal 6:30 p.m. time. If Enosh is streaming his show, they will be later on, probably around 10:30, 11 o'clock, depending on how long his show is. But we will be doing a show tomorrow. Just don't know exactly when, but it'll be our usual Friday stuff. Talking about whatever's gone on in the Geek Week. Not Twitter. Jeez, I'm literally watching a screen right now. Where what is this man doing? But yeah, we'll be talking about our normal geek stuff. We'll be going over some comics. And just regular conversation. And then overnight, we will be doing our overnight show where we will go in extensively, and we will be going over AEW because I'm a wrestling geek. We'll be going AEW's Full Gear, which has some matches in it that were at the last minute that I'm really interested in. Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks going against Death Triangle. That alone is worth my money. There may be other good matches on there, but every time the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are in the ring, that's worth my cash right there. All right, William, that's what I meant. It doesn't have to be cosmic to you. I think Walter would have been good. I think he had this Paramount job in mind a long before he was leaving. Then it may have been, but it came down to where he felt most comfortable. So. All right, guys. Thank you for everybody who came in tonight. Thanks for everybody who added questions and content that made the stream better. And we will see you tomorrow night.